it scares me because there are people that are coming up after us that want to be journalists and think that this is a cool art form. But like you said, there's a rise of people that just kind of sit in their studio, kind of like what we're doing right now, and just talk shit. But again, like we've been through it. Like I went to school for this, and like I think when I look for jobs, and I've been interviewing a lot in the past year just to look for a new gig. I've been like, my journey started here, but like it's taken me so many places, and I want to tell you right now, everything that you've done and you've been doing for the past 5-6 years will get you somewhere where you can get that recognition that you want for sure.
Yeah.
Because I know the frustration. The frustration is a lot, especially like being in a space where you are creative and you want to review or you want to do things. It's like I just wonder what the limit is for people who have been doing it will be. Because my limit was like being like, okay, I'm gonna move over to like entertainment journalism because like music wasn't really moving. The music wasn't moving me. The music wasn't like. And again, I was coming up blogging and aggregating during like the blog era, A$AP Rocky, Drake, Kendrick, 2 Chainz, like all of those people. I was able to blog all of them and talk to all of these people. I remember like talking to Metro for Billboard back in the day, like old, you know what I'm saying? He was way younger, and like that was just driving to Atlanta and doing all that stuff. Like that's the grind that like I loved. And then I saw it going away. And then I saw it being more branded stuff, and I was like, "Oh wait, we're not allowed to have an opinion on this because it'll take away the sponsorship that we have for this." It's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's wild, and it's funny too. You told me years ago, but like, and I was talking to Mills about it the other day. Like, you told me years ago when I'm ready to pivot, come to you, and like this was when I was still freelancing, so I was like, pivot? Well, why would I want to pivot? This job is awesome. Like, music journalism is so cool. Go to shows for free, talk to all these cool guys, get paid to write about music. Pivot? What? Here I am, 2025. The pivot is on the horizon. The pivot is on the fucking horizon.
The pivot's on the horizon, man. Like you got to be able to pivot. Like I came up under. She's gonna be here this week too. I came up under Lauren Nostro, and for better or for worse, she was my biggest champion, my biggest critic. She was one of, I always tell people, I came up under Lauren Nostro, the hardest editor on the planet. My shit,
I've heard.
My shit would be blood red, dog. My emails would be filled, like she would fill my emails with edits. You know what I'm saying? But like it made me better. You know what I mean? She was rough, but it made me a better writer. It made me a better, someone who was able to look beyond the lines and see what was going on. And I don't know if you got that, like, what was that movie called? I don't know if you ever seen the movie called Whiplash about the drummer.
No.
It's like about a drum teacher who's like really hard on his student. Probably a terrible movie to compare this to, but like I came up through that, you know what I'm saying? Like that was kind of like the same type of boot camp that I came up under, and like I look at these kids now, and I'm like they're excited for a byline. I used to be just excited to fucking have my shit right and have it correct. Because when you have it correct, and the artist comes back to you and they're like, I love this. Like one of my favorite things was like I had interviewed Alex Toomey, and Thug's sisters were so excited, and they hit me up and they were like, we really love this. Like you really capture who he was, but also who Thug was. You know what I mean? And that meant a lot. Or interviewing J305, I think I brought this up on the show before. Like he sees me anywhere out here in LA, and he remembers that. He carries around the fucking article all the time. It's like I remember that because that was a struggle that I had, and I had started to see that struggle before. Where people were like, we don't think this is worthy. We don't think this is worth it. Every fucking artist is worth it. You know what I mean? Every artist is worth it. And I just don't think that there's that passion to do that anymore.
It's not. No. I mean, fuck it. This is going out like publicly, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I won't say it then. Never mind.
Well, you championed Cash Cobain. You know what I'm saying? That was a big kind of movement too. You championed him heavy.
I think I don't know if I was one of the first to interview him, but like maybe I was. I don't know. But that was cool.
You was getting all the slizzy. Listen, I got the slizzy sex kit in the house somewhere.
I still got it.
It's unopened. All right. I'm not using that at all. I'm not using the slizzy sex kit. I don't even know where it is. I gotta find that shit.
It's somewhere in my room, but
it's been like a very long journey for you. Like, do you have any regrets? Do you have anything that you wish to do?
None.
Even if you do pivot, not saying that,
No, I think that's why I'm so like comfortable saying I'm ready to pivot, because I've done a lot, things I didn't even expect to do. I And I think I've done stuff that matters. Like I'll see people at events and they'll be like, yo, that article you did, whether it was recent or whether it was years ago, like, you know, getting that feedback and just having the gratification of knowing like I've done good work and I've worked with great editors who have made me better. Like there's nothing that, you know, I think would like eat away at me if I switched roles. So I feel very fulfilled.
Do you feel like you're at the point where you could give people advice now?
Yeah. I felt that way for like a year or two now.
What advice would you give somebody right now?
For someone who wants to be a journalist right now, I would say like one, get your reps in, like just write anywhere that you can, or start a Medium page like I did.
I remember the Medium page.
Yeah. The Medium was booming in the pandemic. Yeah. Start, just get your reps in, and also like try to stand out. Like don't do what everyone else is doing. Like, and if there is a hot topic everyone is covering, find a new approach to it. Cause I think a lot of people, and there are people in the space to look up to, but I think a lot of people will try to emulate or embody them rather than being themselves. Yeah. You know, I think that's the one thing I took pride in is, especially on Medium, it was like people were coming for me. They weren't coming for me because I wrote at Complex or something. Like people got invested in my writing, and I always try to take a different approach to things, and it worked out for me. So get your reps in, network your ass off. I DM'd so many different people in the music space, some who didn't answer me at first. And then when I got a little bigger, they started jacking me, and just, network your ass off, go to events, go to shows, meet people.
I hated that part, Armon.
It's a lot.
I told you when you got here, it's like my social battery is like, it's never been great. I never had a word for it back in the day. I used to be like, I'm so like over this shit. Like,
you're out of the social media star phase.
It was a crazy, it was a crazy phase. Cause like, I look back on my pictures, Armon, like just kind of like, I'm trying to come up with like a 10th anniversary post.
Yeah.
And by the time people hear this, it'll probably have been out already. But like, I'm trying to come up with like a 10th anniversary post or whatever. And I'm like, man, I was really like social media, like God at one point. Like it was kind of crazy. I would go places and people would be like, oh, it's you. You tweeted this crazy thing. And it was like, I guess maybe 2019. I still was kind of in it then, but like I think after the pandemic, I just didn't care about that shit anymore.
Yeah, I caught you right at the end of like Twitter J5 phase.
Yeah. Well, I met my wife literally, I think the year I met you. Mm-hmm. And that's when I started kind of peeling back and forth. I was still trolling a little bit. Mm-hmm. But then like I think maybe 2021, 22, like I completely pulled back. But that people don't understand that too. Like there was an age where you really could get bags on social media.
Oh, absolutely.
And I said this before, like this is we're the last train of niggas getting bags off social media. Like they're getting bags now from getting like the check marks and shit, but they're not getting it like how we was getting it back in the day.
It's not the real hustle.
It was not the real hustle because like I will come, like literally I got hired off of Twitter from Joe LaPuma because of my tweets. And from there, I worked at Complex Music. I did shit for Complex Pop. I did shit for Complex Sneakers. And that's how it happened. It was off of social media shit. You can't do that no more. Yeah, no. Because now in some ways, it's cool because you gotta come up with your own hustle. But the other way, it's like you could really be legitimate. You were able to be legitimate at that point. And I think what killed that was there was an age of I guess like first person journalism. It was very like gonzo like journalism where the writer was the I guess the vision. The writer was a vision, and I think that started with like Ernest Baker back in the day. Like he was kind of big in that, like it was very self journalism. Like it's about what I feel and how I felt and what I felt going home, and it was huge at one point. Yeah. But I felt like that was kind of the beginning of the end because everyone thought they could be Ernest Baker at that point.
Yeah, everyone does not do it well.
Yeah,
like I had a phase where I was doing it, and I kind of moved out of it. I was like, I don't really like this anymore
because it's like we are. In so many ways, like in terms of media, being a journalist, we are the voice of like kind of expanding on what people are trying to hear or what they're trying to learn. We shouldn't be the character in the story, and I think that was what it was. And I think to some certain extent, like in that phase of like Armon, it's so crazy. Niggas who were journalists were rock stars on Twitter. They were rock stars, bro. Like we were the characters, and I regret that. I really do regret that. I think it was a bad idea. I think it did more harm than good.
Seemed good at the time, but and we're seeing some people who are struggling with that to this day. Yeah, like moving out of that. I'm the centerpiece of it all, and it's cringe, like secondhand embarrassment.
Of course, and again, like the shit is cyclical. You know, life is cyclical. The world is cyclical. But I'm hoping that in the future we can not only get more honest journalism, but get more writers who are young and that want to kind of create a new space. Like you said, be different.
Yeah.
What's going to be the next thing? I don't know. But it's going to take, like I said, a whole industry to change and metastasize into something that's completely different. I don't know what it's going to be. I look to you every day and I'm like, you're still in it. Like, I don't know how you're doing.
Begrudgingly.
I'm like, you're still in it, man. Yeah. And I feel like Armon, New York Times call you, you're like, you're in it.
I'm in it.
You're in
doing
it. New York Times calls you, you're in it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you're doing a lot of, you're doing stuff where like it could matter. Like what was, when you were in college, what did they make you like do a lot of? Because when I was at VCU, they made me do court reporting. I had to go to a court and I had to like do an article based off of the case that I was watching. It was like a civil case.
Yeah, I had like all different types of, because I was a communication major, so I had all different types of like I took like oral communication and visual communication. So I feel like I had a very
that was at Cornell, right?
Yeah, Cornell. Yeah, so I had a very holistic like view of the communication discipline. And I had a focus in media studies, so of course I did like media stuff, but writing a lot of papers, speeches, presentations, like it was all over. I always loved writing and felt I was second best at writing, first best at public speaking. Yeah. So primarily those two things, but like I didn't have necessarily like a journalism focus. Like, this is something I picked up after graduation.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because I did forensics public speaking in middle school. I did that like at the competition style shit. Yeah. I would come up with I did something called impromptu speaking. I guess this is how I learned how to bullshit so well. Where you got 3 topics, you picked one, and you had 10 minutes to create something about it and then talk about it. I used to kill at that shit. I could probably still kill at it today.
I can see it.
Like I could still do that shit today, but I really love public speaking. Like it's one of my favorites. But now I feel like as years have gone by, I get more nervous speaking in public. Yes.
Wow.
There's always a point before I do a pod where I get nervous. I get like deathly nervous. I get like jittery. I'm just like, I don't know, because I want it to go well. Yeah. I literally I told Josh this shit all the time. I was like, are you good? Like I'm nervous. Like he's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I would never be able to tell that.
I'm always nervous. I think the only thing I'm not nervous doing is A Show, because it's so. At this point, A Show, I've been doing it for so long. It's like me picking up the phone and calling you or calling my friend or calling Meals. You know what I mean? Like it's just so easy for me to do. A pod where it's like, okay, you are the host. This is what this is going out to me. I think about the amount of people that are going to hear it. Wow. And I get afraid. So it's like, and building Black Print in this channel this year, it's like I want to get better at like not being nervous, but I want to build it so that like it is where the A Show is, or you know, bigger than that. But I still get nervous, man.
I would not be able to, especially when you're a guest on a pod, nigga. You be going crazy
because I'm not. It's not mine. Right? Okay. It's not mine. That makes sense. Because when I'm a guest, I'm like, fuck it.
I feel like some people would get more nervous as a guest. They're being exposed to a new audience and all that.
When I hang up as a guest, I'm like, shit, I killed that shit. That was my shit. Like I killed that shit. Fuck it. That's funny.